The Joe Rogan Experience.
Television, at least the television I grew up with, was all about like the familiarity of returning to the characters you love.
Yeah, but there was plenty of characters.
Yeah.
And you did get to return to the ones that stuck around and didn't get their heads
I
lopped
just wish
off.
they'd killed other characters.
But let me
anyone else than that.
I love that.
Let me give you another example of my. Everyone talks about how great television is now, and it's pretty good. I got to say, it's pretty good, but it's still television to me. And what's the difference between television and a good movie? Because a lot of the TV now has the patina of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, they're using cinematic language, all right, to get you caught up in it, and obviously I'm talking about good shows. We're talking about shows that you're
Ozark.
We're talking shows that you're compelled to watch.
Right.
All right. So I'll use an example of a show. I'll use Yellowstone. I didn't really get around to watching Yellowstone the first 3 years or so, and then I watched like the first season. I go, wow, this is fucking great. I've always been a big Kevin Costner fan. He's fucking wonderful in this. All right, and I got really caught up in the show and everything, and all of a sudden I'm having a good time, and I've got a couple seasons I haven't seen, so I'm watching it, and in the first season, I'm kind of talking about, oh, this is like a movie. This is like a big movie. It's like a big movie. And the guy who writes that is a good writer. There's good, like, punchy monologues and stuff. So then I end up watching, like, 3 seasons of it. And then I even watched that 1883. Was, oh, this is like a good Western show. I like Westerns. But then, after I've watched, like, 2 or 3 seasons or 1 season of 1883, look, while I'm watching it, I am compelled. I'm caught up in it. But at the end of the day, it's all just a soap opera. They've introduced you to a bunch of characters. You actually kind of know all their backstories. You know everybody's connection with everybody else. And, they spend some time selling that out. And then everything else, is just the compellingness of the soap opera.
Right.
Of what's happening to
and
this
what's
character.
different between that and a film?
Well, I'll tell you. Because the thing is, if you watch Edge of Night Monday through Friday, you get caught up in the dramas of the family and everything.
Right.
But you don't remember it 5 years from now. You're caught up into the minutia of it at the moment. Mm-hmm. All right. So the difference between is I'll see a good Western movie and I'll remember it for the rest of my life. I'll remember the story. I'll remember this scene or that scene, and it built to an emotional climax of some degree. And the story is good. It's not just about the interpersonal relationships. The story is good itself, but there's a payoff to it. But there's not a payoff on this stuff. It's just more interconnectional drama. And while I'm watching it, that's good enough. But when it's over, I couldn't tell you. I can remember who the bad guy was in the first season of Yellowstone because it was Danny Houston. I remember him in it, but I don't remember any of the details of it, and I don't remember any of the bad guys for season 2 or season 3. It's out of my head. It's just completely out. And same thing with 1883. When I watched the whole thing, and that seemed like a movie, except I don't remember. Sam Elliott's about the only thing I really remember of it when it was finished. But now. Red River, I remember for the rest of my life.
Isn't that, though, because it's a different thing, right? Because when you go to a film is designed for one sitting. You sit down in the theater, you're going to get the entire encapsulation of what happens to these characters in 3 hours.
Okay, I'll give you an example of one that is more than a soap opera. And here's the difference. The difference. Okay, because, you could say that. Look, they're in the soap opera business. But I'll tell you one that's not, okay? If you watch that first season of now here's one that really works like a movie. If you watch the first season of Homeland.
Oh, yeah.
That first season of Homeland.
First season's incredible.
Okay.
Yeah, so very good.
When it gets to that final episode of the first season, and he's got the suicide vest on, and he's in the room, he can kill the guys that he's been waiting for to do it for the whole movie. And you don't want him to die, but you're kind of into him and you kind of want him to pull it off. And then his daughter calls him on the phone before he does it. She doesn't know what he's going to do, but she gets that little sense from him that something's weird. She goes, Dad, you need to tell me that you're going to come home right now. You need to tell me right now that I will see you later tonight. And the entire series has been built to this scene. And it's one of the most emotional scenes I've ever seen in a movie, any TV show I've ever seen
That
dramatized.
first season was great.
I've ever seen dramatized. Now, that was a movie.
Right.
That was not a
I see
soap
what you're
opera.
saying. I see
That
what you're
built
saying.
to this moment of him being in that fucking room with the suicide vest on. And there was complexity. She doesn't know what she's asking, but we do.
Right.
She's stopping this major thing, and she'll never know that, but we do.
Right.
And he's still committed,
That's
but he's
cinema.
more committed to her, and we know that. That's just great shit. That's a movie.
Right. And can you do that every week?
No, I didn't say you can do it every week, but
I
I'm
mean,
saying,
you know what I'm saying? Like-
when the season's over, I need to walk
Right.
away with more than just the soap opera.
An impactful moment.
Exactly. Now, I don't expect you to do that every week, but at the end of the arc, if you're telling a continuing story,
Right.
at the end of that fucking season, you need to, bam, drop the mic.
Yeah.
You need to tell me a fucking story, not just ...
I see what you're saying.
And look, while I'm watching it, I'm not asking for that. But the fact that it all just
Goes away.
disappears
Right.
once it's over and it's
Right.
just sand on the beach.
Right. It's a different thing, though, right? I mean, this is the weirdness. This is the
hey,
weirdness
here's
of
where
the
it's not a
theater
diff-
experience
okay,
versus home.
Okay, here's where it's not a different thing. Part of the thing that makes it different is the fact that everyone's watching these continuing stories. Okay, if it were Bonanza, where it's just a setup story, Charles Bronson shows up. He's a half-breed Indian, and he's working at the Ponderosa for a while, and he gets involved in an adventure, and then at the end, it's done. Well, on that show, you have the episodes that are maybe not so good, or the episodes are whatever, they're
But
treading
it's not
water.
one continual story.
But then you'll have this great episode with Charles Bronson. Or do they have a great episode with James Coburn?
they're almost
All right?
standalone, so
And
Yeah.
that could have been a movie.
Yeah.
They could have expanded that to a movie.
Right. They're standalones instead
Yeah.
of just a long, ongoing story.
And, well, the
Yeah.
difference is that
And it's a long ongoing
episodic.
story. It's a long ongoing story that leads to the soap opera aspect.
Well,
Right.
it's episodic, and television now has become completely serialized.
Yeah.
And so, somebody's going in and they're pitching their show, even a really, really good show like Deadwood. Okay, Deadwood, I know what they probably went in, they pitched, and what they knew that they were going to make was it Wild Bill? The Wild Bill story. And they've got Carradine and they know that story. And that show is fantastic as long as they're telling that story, which is like 6 to 8 episodes. Once he's gone, I don't think they had a plan. That was what they pitched, and it was like they pitched a movie spread out over a number of episodes.
But by that
But it
point-
wasn't even the full season.
Yeah, but by that point in time, they have all the town characters.
Well, they've got
and-
everybody, but I would maintain that for the rest of Deadwood, after Carradine's gone, it's just things are happening. Stuff is happening. But I don't remember anything about that show other than the town and, the various actors that I liked on the show. But really, all they had was those first 6 to 8 episodes. I can't remember exactly what it was.
And the thing about it is, I don't say all this, and the sum up of it all is it's useless. It is very compelling while I'm watching it, but it just doesn't compare to a movie real story that stays with me for the rest of my life.